talk to Ian Punnett, call the Wildcard line at 818-501-4109. The first-time caller line is 818-501-4721. To talk toll-free from east of the Rockies, call 800-825-5033. From west of the Rockies toll-free, call 800-618-8255. This is Coast to Coast AM with Ian Punnett.
Well, I just loving this cover of Roadhouse Blues from Jeff Healey Band. I guess this was done for the movie Roadhouse. I saw it years ago, and I probably even played that song when it first came out on 97X in the Quad Cities when I was a hard rock DJ. But I totally forgot about it till I got that from Dave on Twitter when I sent out a message earlier. Hey, what's your favorite Doors cover? And Dave jumped in with Jeff Healey covering Roadhouse Blues. We'll do a couple more of those tonight and have fun with the bumpers. It's open lines. It's all about having fun. It's Friday night. And storm or no storm, wherever you are, we'll stir things up. And I look forward to having you on sometime in the next couple of hours. We'll get an open line for you in just a minute. If you don't want to grab that international line, should you be calling from Canada? I think that's the only one that's open right now. So if you are listening, though, from Canada, from anywhere on Coast to Coast AM, and you think, you know what, it would be a lot more fun if I were sitting here enjoying Coast to Coast with a member of the opposite sex. I'm guessing. I don't think they do same-sex paranormal date, but I haven't been on there yet. They might. What I do know is over 100,000 people have signed up. And Paranormal Date is a wonderful opportunity for you to, if nothing else, find a new friend. Now, who knows what that could bloom into. Go on a date and sit down and have your favorite paranormal conversation and not feel weird about it. Not feel like just because you brought it up, that person's going to start looking at their watch across the table going, yeah, did I tell you I have a thing? So find out more if you go to our website and link up from there to Paranormal Date at coasttocoastam.com. Your calls, your comments, your questions, you take us anywhere you want to go next. On Coast to Coast, this is Ian Punnett.
Summer is a time for excitement, whether it's leaving your worries behind and going on vacation for a few days or just leaving your comfort zone and trying something new today with HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, I can try new dishes without the usual hassles of cooking something for the first time. No puzzling over complicated directions or hunting down ingredients I'll only use once, and no need to put grocery shopping and meal planning on my summer calendar. HelloFresh now offers 50 menu and market items to choose from each week, with new recipes constantly being added, so there's always something new to try. There are meal options for every occasion inspired by different cuisines, even quick dinners and 10-minute lunches perfect for switching things up. And with pictures, easy-to-follow directions, and pre-measured ingredients, each dish is easier to make than the last. Go to HelloFresh.com/George14 and use code George14 for up to 14 free meals and free shipping. That's code George14 for up to 14 free meals at HelloFresh.com/George14.
I'm Mike Huckabee, former governor of Arkansas and 2016 presidential candidate. Like many of you, I've struggled to get a good night's sleep until about 2 years ago. That's when I saw an ad on TV for Relaxium Sleep, and it literally changed my life. Developed by renowned neurologist Dr. Eric Siliberti, Relaxium Sleep is clinically proven to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up refreshed. Relaxium's triple action formula addresses 3 key factors that contribute to insomnia. With Relaxium Sleep, I fall asleep as soon as my head hits the pillow. I find I've got more energy and focus. I trust my night to Relaxium Sleep, and so should you. Get the sleep you need with Relaxium, so you can live your life to the fullest.
Your best sleep guaranteed or your money back. Call 800-999-6410 or go to Relaxium.com. Use promo code Mike and save 50%. Call 800-999-6410 or go to Relaxium.com.
Open lines are always fun. So is continuing the conversation on Twitter at Deacon Pundit. I mention it because I see a comment here, very sweet comment. Somebody asked about my dog in this thunderstorm. So thank you, Ruth. Yes, he's fine. Whenever I see a thunderstorm coming, my very addled old dog, whom I adore, gets a cocktail weenie with a trazodone in it. It's from the vet. Trust me, it's all good. But he's just one of those who just can't be, consoled in a storm, especially now that he's almost completely blind and deaf. So he got his trazodone. Last time I looked at him, he was very stoned, licking his paws. I think Jim Morrison would have appreciated that. Let me go to the open lines segment. You can pull up anything you want, by the way. It can be from previous conversations or start one of your own. George is in Toledo on Coast to Coast AM. Hey, George.
Hi, Ian. How you doing?
Good. Love Toledo. Cool town.
Great. It's the old Glass City.
It's cool. It really is a great town. Great hospital system there. Good university. It's very cool.
They got a new baseball stadium and
Mudheads?
starting to build up again.
I love
I
that.
wanted
Go
to
ahead.
ask you a few questions.
Yep.
I think, first of all, I want to compliment you. You're one of the best hosts besides the great Art Bell on Coast to Coast. I'm a long-time listener. I'm 74 years old, and I think you're really a good host.
Well, thank you. That's nice of you.
And I wanted to touch on the Doors. I always wondered why Jim Morrison named his band the Doors. And I accidentally ran across an article where he read this book called The Doors of Perception.
Right.
And that's how he got the Doors. And this was one out of a million objects that happened to me. I was at a used bookstore looking for books, and this one book was sticking out a little bit, and I pulled it out, and here it was, The Doors of Perception, so I have that.
Huxley's book, Aldous Huxley.
Yes.
Yeah, he would if Aldous had lived long enough, he would have made a great Coast to Coast guest. He would have been a
Oh,
wreck.
he would have been wonderful. He would have fit right in.
He would have. He was great. It's very interesting to read him. And so it doesn't surprise me at all that Doors of Perception, and the fact that it really, he was in that one way much more than the rest of the band. He really was the guy that challenged perception. And I think the other band is amazing. The other members of the band amazingly talented. But that is what they lost, was that sense of that elevation, I think, of their music.
And I think Jim got a lot of his ideas from that book, too.
Yep. I think he's pretty
And,
good.
Another thing I want to compliment, the other book I've written about the Doors, No One Gets Out of Here Alive, was a great book to read.
Yeah.
And but I wanted to ask you about, if you remember back when the Doors it was one of their last concerts, it was in Florida, and there was a big Catholic organization, a group of kids that were there with the thousands that were there, and they said that Jimmy exposed himself, which I don't believe, and they ruined his reputation, and I think I read an article that's why he took off for Paris. He didn't want to come back here anymore.
Yeah, the argument
trial.
The argument was that he put his finger through his fly, and
Right.
that he was kind of parodying all of the hubbub around the band and the all of the police presence, but it didn't. It kind of backfired. I think.
Yeah, which was too bad. I mean, it ruined him, and that's why he left, I think, for Paris.
Yeah, you got to admit, though. I mean, I'm with you. Everything you said, I agree with. But you also, at the same time, you have to admit, it was kind of a middle school playground thing to do. And as adults, that kind of taunting of authority, it usually goes okay, but not always. And this was
You
one
can
of
away with it in California, because that was in Hattiesburg in 67, so...
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
You could do a thing like that.
Yeah, I think that's and they're probably in New York City. You could have done it, but yeah, not the way they were being kind of tracked, and a lot of that was the animosity toward these bands was that they were getting people. They were the gateway, if you will, to a world of drugs and decadence and stopping the war and all of that. And so that was definitely an establishment versus a counterculture kind of a thing. But that's very interesting observation. What's your favorite Doors song?
Light My Fire.
Still. Yeah.
I remember riding in my car. It was a warm summer day, and I turned the station and Light My Fire came on, and I thought, the hair stood up on my arms. And I thought, this guy's going to be somebody. I didn't know who he was then.
Yeah.
And I just became a follower of him after that. It was a great song. The words were beautiful, and it touched a lot of people. Every bar you went in was playing the songs. Every station you turned on the radio had Light My Fire.
Yeah, and I think that the very interesting piece to that, too, was Ray Manzarek's keyboard work. Everybody had a little highlight, I think, in that song. Excellent. Well, wonderful talking with you. Thank you much for hanging on. I know you were on the longest, but there's some other people, too, so let's get to them and have a terrific night. I'm trying to find, tell me, Dan, who's next, time-wise? Oh, Craig's in Santa Barbara on Coast to Coast AM. Craig? Hey.
Yeah, I was going to talk about what he just talked about, but I could also bring up when he's doing the backdoor woman, backdoor man, and the cop Billy Club him and arrested him right off the stage in the middle of the concert.
That's not even his song.
And that was sort of the beginning of his police troubles, and then it's a phony indecent exposure charge, and then, yeah, it's pretty crazy. That Ray Manzarek's son lives about 2 miles from me in a house that we built years ago.
Oh, seriously?
Ranch.
You're a home builder?
I'm an electrician, so a bunch of contractors and friends of mine, we all did this house years ago. Basically a mini mansion on the outskirts of Hope Ranch, and
I love that.
Where Pablo lives.
I love that. And his name is Pablo.
Yeah.
Oh, very
My boss has been over there working on a couple things, replacing bulbs and stuff for him. I haven't met him myself yet.
Okay, well, shout out to Pablo. I think that's neat. And I really would like to see getting one of the doors on. John Dinsmore, I think is still alive. Can you ask Gina to get on mic?
We did a book signing tour in Santa Barbara a few years ago, but I didn't get a chance to get down and see him.
Well, I know he does a lot with the local public radio in that area, so thank you. I appreciate that comment. Let me grab Gina, who's handling the phones. Okay, get her on mic if you would, because she texted me a photo of her and John Densmore at, I think it was the public radio station in Santa Barbara, maybe it was Santa Monica, and it's a great photo. I think we should post it on the website, Coast to Coast AM. I hear her. Hey Gina, when was that photo taken of you and John Densmore?
Probably about, I think it was 2019. It was pre-COVID.
Okay.
But yeah, he's a big fan of public radio here in California.
I would love to get him on Coast. I think that would be fun. I was surprised in the photo that you sent that you've decided to color a lot of your hair gray.
I color my hair a lot here, and I've had various colors throughout the years, throughout the decades. So.
But I mean, you're such a young thing, and for you to go down that road of coloring in the gray, I thought that was...
we were just having fun at the moment, so...
It's beautiful. I think that was neat, and he seemed like a really great guy as well. And I hope that we could find some contact information. I'd love to hear him on this subject, so we'll have to do that. Well, as long as I have you here, who's next waiting for me online?
Let's go to Will in Sonoma County.
I like that. Will in Sonoma on Coast to Coast AM. Hey, Will.
Hi, Ian. I volunteered with a gal in a nonprofit in the 90s, mid-90s, and she was a Pepsi girl. And she was in the apartment the night of Skid Morrison's death, and she said that's not the way it happened. That she would never reveal just exactly what happened. And one day, just down the way, there was a used bookstore, and I found written about Jim Morrison and his death. And I told her about, showed it to her, and she said, that's not it either. And it was one of the other gals that was in the room or apartment also. And she was, like I said, a Pepsi girl, model, beautiful, tall, blonde, blue-eyed. And her father was in British intelligence in East Africa. Well, she was, as a child, separated, put in a nunnery, which she absolutely hated her parents for, because her brother was not.
Right.
And she rebelled later.
Yeah. Made up for it later.
As a party girl.
Yeah.
And she partied with a lot of rock stars. I suspect she was, because I've gone and seen, YouTube does a thing in the last 24 or 48 hours of rock stars.
Mm-hmm.
And I had seen the Jim Morrison thing. And I thought, well, the scenario I like is the club he went to. And when he OD'd, they got him back to the apartment. And I suspect that he was one of the entourage that probably knew Pamela.
Yeah.
And then there's that other gal.
And maybe knew a few secrets if he knew her,
Well, this gal's still alive, and I talked with her a couple of years ago, and she's a very interesting person because I watched her house where her and her husband went and traveled Europe.
How about that?
So
they must trust you. So next time you see her, tell her that we spoke of her on Coast to Coast AM.
yeah, well, I wish she would just unload the story.
Yeah, really.
It's time to unload because she's older than I am. I'm 67, and I don't know how old she is because she ages very well. But
Yeah.
it's time to get it out there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And this is the show on which to do it. See, just that reminder, that part.
Right.
This is the show on when it's time to unload. We're ready for her at Coast to Coast.
Like the kind of person that likes the power, or not so much the power of knowing what really happened, but she's not going to tell anybody.
Yeah. Very good. I appreciate that. You have a good night. I have a friend named Ed who knows about a famous building being burned down. He knows the guy who did it. And he still to this day won't say who it was. East of the Rockies, Charles is in Corpus Christi on Coast to Coast AM.
Hey, Ian, I was on your Twitter account a while back, and you had something on there mentioning, like, Jesuit voodoo priest or something. What does that mean?
No. So, it's kind of a joke. So, Jesuit voodoo trickster is what it says next to my name. I am not a Jesuit. I do not believe in voodoo. However, the comment was made to me because somebody was making a silly argument. And every time they came up with some response, which was, again, off subject and specious, but every time they did that, I would just simply refute it with a very easy comment. And one time he wrote back and said, hey, I've got another thing here. Don't try and dismiss it with your Jesuit voodoo tricks. And I thought that was so funny to describe logic as a Jesuit voodoo trick that I sort of absorbed that. In fact, I told my kids and my wife, I want that on my tombstone underneath my name, Jesuit voodoo trickster, because it still cracks me up to this day. So, there you go. That's the whole thing. All right, so coming up bottom of the hour, let me get to Jeff, who's in California on Coast to Coast. Jeff?
Ian, I'm trying to gather on my thoughts what I want to say to you. How are you tonight?
Well, we'll start there. I'm terrific. Go ahead. Go for it.
Okay. So, earlier somebody said that John Lennon was scared by Jim Morrison, but Bob Dylan wrote a song called Fourth Time Around as a direct response to Norwegian Wood. And that's the song that scared John Lennon.
Interesting. I think he was the claim was that he was intimidated by Jim Morrison's stage presence. He didn't want to be on the same stage because he thought he would be overshadowed by him.
I think that Jim came a few years after that. Yeah, it's a timeline thing.
No, because they would have been concurrent. Because Plastic Ono Band would have already have had hits by the time the Beatles and the Doors are on the charts at the same time anyway. But even when Lennon was out there performing as a solo artist, the Doors were still popular, right?
As a solo artist. But okay, so what I really want to ask is I want to delve into Tim and Jeff Buckley. Because the thought that Jim Morrison might have lived past his supposed death, and you look at the Tim Buckley and Jeff Buckley, those two people who were right around the same time. Well, Tim was, but Jeff wasn't. Jeff died relatively at the same age as Tim died in the Mississippi River. But these are mysterious deaths that happened with...
Okay, but hold on. So, I only know Jeff Buckley. I don't know Tim too well, but I know the story of Jeff Buckley, and he was dead. I thought he was in his early 30s or something, right, when he died? And
Tim Buckley was around Hollywood in California in the late 60s, early 70s.
Right.
Playing at the clubs.
Right.
He was a funky artist.
No, I'll go with you on Tim Buckley. I just didn't get the Jeff Buckley connection. So Jeff is Tim's son, right? Not younger brother. It's his son. Isn't that right?
So Jeff dies in the Mississippi River swimming accordingly, and Tim dies at the same age, but a decade earlier, in Hollywood of a heroin overdose. And I bring this up because we talked previously about Howard Hughes still being alive past his death, and Jim Morrison being alive past his death. Tim Buckley and Jeff Buckley, not necessarily, but there's this weird sort of conglomerate of deaths.
Mysterious deaths involving... Right. Okay, let me start next half hour with a follow-up on that, okay? So I'll give you a more informed response in just a moment. But first, we'll give you the numbers next.
To 8 passengers.
On Coast to Coast AM, this is Ian Punnett.
KFI, news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks.
I'm Brian Bruman from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. 4 people have been arrested in La Mirada during a series of probation compliance checks that turned up a cache of weapons, drugs, and counterfeit money. The LA County Sheriff's Department says methamphetamine, pills, a shotgun, ammunition, and fake U.S. currency were found. A type of common cold has caused concern in the COVID-19 world.
The recent emergence of a virus that's similar to the common cold that can lead to serious coughs and breathing problems in the very young and very old has prompted the CDC to issue a health advisory. Cases of RSV dropped dramatically last year as people stayed home and social distanced, but now that people are out and about, new cases are showing up now when the virus is typically seen in the colder months of fall and early spring. RSV kills about 14,000 older people a year, about 58,000 kids under 5 end up in the hospital, and about 500 die. That's higher than the number of children who've died from COVID-19. Amy King, KFI News.
SoCal weather from KFI. Highs in the mid-80s to low 100s in inland valleys. We lead local from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Brian Bruman.
Crash in Buena Park on the westbound side of the 91 at Knott Avenue has the left lane and right lane taken away. You're jammed almost back to the 5 freeway in Huntington Beach on the northbound side of the 405. Beach Boulevard to Golden West. All lanes closed by Caltrans until around 6 o'clock this morning. In Fillmore on the westbound side of the 210 freeway. Hubbard to the 5. All lanes there closed until around 5 o'clock Monday morning. And Santa Monica, the westbound side of the 10 between 4th Street and the McClure Tunnel. It's all lanes closed until 6 a.m. today as well. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Robert Bucky.
Still buying bottled water? Really? Eliminate the cost and hassle of buying, well, it's wasteful plastic water bottles of what it does to the environment. So let me suggest a LifeSource Whole House water filtration system, where you can have this delicious, clean, filtered water coming out of every tap in your home. And there are no filters to change. Once they install it, no maintenance at all. You actually forget about it. And what the LifeSource water system does, reduces the odor and taste of chlorine from your water. And not only are you hydrating your body, your skin, your hair will thank you too. You're buying directly from the factory, which provides installation and customer service for the life of your system. They've been around for 36 years here in Southern California, and if you're looking to join a growing team, LifeSource is hiring team members in your area. Call 800-334-5009, 800-334-5009. Visit LifeSourceWater.com. LifeSource Water. Taste and feel the difference.
Looking to sell your valuable coins, high-end jewelry, collectibles, or fine art? Meet Cindy. She's been around the block when it comes to buying and selling jewelry.
I buy jewelry to resell. I've been going to Tangible for about 6-7 years.
Tangible just pays more.
Here's a great example of the Tangible difference. I brought a gold and sapphire bracelet. I shopped it around. They offered me $50. They offered me $100. I brought it to Tangible and gave me $475 for it.
More cash, more respect.
Tangible treats me as well as they do the person coming in with, $10,000 worth of gold.
Tangible Investments owner Phil DeGenova has become America's top dealer in coins, precious metals, jewelry, and fine art. Phil guarantees you'll get more.
Everything I've heard about them on the radio is true.
Call now for a no-obligation free professional appraisal. 800-711-2800. 800-711-2800. 800-711-2800.
In Season 2 of the hit podcast Paper Ghosts, investigative journalist M. William Phelps searches for the truth behind the tragedy of July 4th weekend, 1981. A massive fire engulfs a farmhouse in America's heartland. 4 members of a wealthy Ohio family are dead, but was it the fire that killed them?
My brother said, Carol, something's up. They're not telling us everything. That is not a fire. There is too much blood.
Listen to Season 2 of Paper Ghosts on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Millions of Americans are struggling to afford food for their children during the pandemic. If you need help, visit nokidhungry.org/help to find free meals for your kids. No questions asked. Just healthy food for kids who need it, right in your community. Meals are provided by local schools, government agencies, and community groups. To find free meals near you, go online to nokidhungry.org/help on any computer or smartphone. This service is made possible by No Kid Hungry.
KFI, AM 640.
To talk to Ian Punnett, call the Wildcard line at 818-501-4109. The first-time caller line is 818-501-4721. To talk toll-free from east of the Rockies, call 800-825-5033. From west of the Rockies toll-free, call 800-618-8255. This is Coast to Coast AM with Ian Punnett.
Yeah, that was another one I got from Twitter when I threw out the question, hey, give me a great Doors cover. I confess, I never heard Billy Idol doing L.A. Woman. Kind of cool. So thanks for the heads up on all of those things. I wish I could have gotten to the many suggestions that came in toward the end. But thank you for taking the time. And it's always a pleasure to keep in touch with you in between appearances. Coming up tomorrow night on Coast to Coast AM, we'll do a little brain hacking with Dr. Bart Costco. And I'm so excited about this. And we'll get an update on the latest murder mystery that Peter Lance has solved in the first hour on Coast to Coast. But first, let's get to, oh gosh, we could go a couple different ways if people have been waiting a while. Let's go with Robert in Long Beach on Coast to Coast. Robert?
Hey, have you heard what Paul McCartney's going to do?
About?
He's going to save the world by wearing a T-shirt in public that says...
Okay. Right. Whatever it was he said, it was not worth hearing. So thank you for getting him off the air. Joshua is in Texas on Coast to Coast. Joshua?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Where are you taking us?
I'm taking you to this story that I interviewed this guy. I should say this guy. He was an Air Force veteran. We went to school together for wind turbine technology.
Yep.
And, he was dying of cancer, so he felt it was okay to finally, tell someone the story. He told me that while and actually, real quick, let me just say something else. After this story, I have a personal experience that actually corroborates what he was telling me. So, when he worked in the Air Force, he used to track things flying over the airspace for wherever he was stationed at.
Right.
He was, of course, tracking things that were routine aircraft, things coming and going. However, there were times that they would track objects going at Mach 7 speed, doing 90-degree angle turns, even doing complete U-turns, still while pulling, like 7 Gs.
Right.
And he would report that kind of stuff to his boss, and they would just tell him, document it, and then burn evidence. So, like I said, he was dying of cancer, and he wanted to tell the story. And he told me that while doing this, investigation for the Air Force and different tracking of things in the air, he told me that he learned that there are unidentified flying objects out there, whether they be from us or aliens, he's not sure. But he does know that there are sometimes big ships that hover in the sky continuously. They're just always in the sky, but they're covered by clouds.
Yeah.
And that they create their own clouds.
Yeah.
And one day, months after he told me the story, I was outside in my backyard taking my dog outside to go to the restroom, and I was looking up, and I noticed there was this big cloud coming up in the sky. It was dark, but there was a full moon, so I could see the cloud. So I see the cloud coming, and to the left, I see a blinking white light, and it goes behind the cloud, and I look to the right of it, and pretty much all around the cloud I could see around it, but I never see the white light come out.
Yeah.
And then a minute later, I see another light coming from the right side. The exact same thing happens. It comes, behind the clouds, it flies behind the clouds, and it never came out on the other side. It was a clear night. I could see the lights in the sky. It was just that one big cloud there, and other clouds off in the distance, nothing obscuring my view. Now, one thing I forgot to tell you about this, about the story he was telling me, let's just say his name was Juan. The story he told me was that these clouds are the big ships, but that smaller ships fly to the big ship and dock there for whatever reason.
Well, okay, a couple things. So, first of all, thank you for sharing that. That's very interesting. Secondly, I think it's fair to say that to dogs, the whole world is their restroom. I know it is to my dog. The third part is I completely, here's how I resonate with what you're talking about. As recent as maybe 3 years ago, there would have been people who would have been of the intelligentsia, right? Who would have gone, you got that out of a movie, out of whatever. That was as recent as 3 years ago. It's really hard to dismiss what you're saying just based on the Pentagon video that we've all seen of planes and ground radar tracking those exact things that you described, having heard surreptitiously from a guy who had one time been a radar operator in the military who was dying. And this was sort of a confession. He's telling you about, this is what I saw. He's passing it along to you. It was just that recent. Before the pivot, where the new term UAP gives new agency for people to have this conversation. And the video allows even the most skeptical to go, well, wait a second, there's something going on here. So I hear you tell that story, and what I hear in that is that narrative would have been received very differently 5 years ago than we receive it tonight, which is there's a lot of correlative evidence and testimony that backs up every single thing you just said.
Thank you. Well, the crazy thing is, I was in school for wind turbine technology back in 2013. That's when I met this guy. His name was Juan. He was in the Air Force. I know he was in the Air Force for sure because there would be times that I would walk with him to get more information, because he has a lot of different stories that he's going about. And we would walk to the place where, you know, he would talk to them about a GI Bill and get help for school for Veterans Affairs.
Right.
So I know for a fact he was a veteran. And the fact that he was telling this in 2013, when I myself hadn't heard a lot about, you know, anything like at that scope. I like I'm 32 right now. My whole life, ever since I was 6, I would look up things of like UFOs, paranormal stuff like that, and things that he was telling me I had never heard of, and that he told me that was blowing my mind. And then the fact that I see the clouds,
right,
was just crazy. And you're right. Now people are more receptive.
They're more open to it.
This is happening. Yeah.
I open the show every night by saying, into the hostile alien armies hovering silently behind your cloaking devices just outside of Earth's atmosphere, eat the Canadians first. I say that because that's exactly what I've heard from legit people who said to me, I know this sounds crazy, but just at a point where we can't see them, but they can be detected, something is there. Now, they would never say aliens, so I kind of insert the hostile alien army thing, but the rest of that, I think, is beyond questioning. And now, since the Pentagon came out and said, we don't know what it is, we have no answer, we're just trying to be transparent, here's the video. And I think it backs up what a lot of other people have been saying, like this gentleman that you mentioned years earlier. So thank you for jumping on and sharing that with us on Coast to Coast. We've got some other people who want to get in too. So let me go to my neighboring state. Oh, wait, break? Did I screw something up? I totally did. I just got to talking, didn't I? Oh, jeez. You know, that happens from time to time. I get a little over-enthusiastic. Hang on, Cheryl, you're next on Coast to Coast AM. This is Ian Putter.
I'm Mike Huckabee, former governor of Arkansas and 2016 presidential candidate. Like many of you, I've struggled to get a good night's sleep until about 2 years ago. That's when I saw an ad on TV for Relaxium Sleep, and it literally changed my life. Developed by renowned neurologist Dr. Eric Ciliberti, Relaxium Sleep is clinically proven to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up refreshed. Relaxium's triple action formula addresses 3 key factors that contribute to insomnia. With Relaxium Sleep, I fall asleep as soon as my head hits the pillow. I find I've got more energy and focus. I trust my night to Relaxium Sleep, and so should you. Get the sleep you need with Relaxium, so you can live your life to the fullest.
Your best sleep guaranteed or your money back. Call 800-999-6410 or go to Relaxium.com. Use promo code Mike and save 50%. Call 800-999-6410 or go to Relaxium.com.
Are you more than $10,000 in debt? Feel like you're on a never-ending treadmill, staying in one